43, I think. And today is Thursday, the 15th of October. And I have to say, it is utterly, utterly miserable here in Hawke's Bay today. It is pouring with rain. It is about 10 degrees, and I've even had to bust out the Rambler, which was my lockdown project, which I never thought I would get to wear again this year. But honestly, it's freezing, and I know that this has come up from down south, and I've seen it's been pretty cold down there yesterday, and it's ripping through the bay today, and boy, are we feeling it. It is so cold. The only good news about that is I got a lot of knitting done last night as the weather began to turn, but far out, was not expecting it. I'd kind of slipped into the Hawke's Bay spring sunshine sort of vibe, and I'd done my big spring clean, and it's been warm, and we're looking, oh yeah, that's all right. It's set to remind us from time to time that it isn't always, this is spring, isn't it? The weather is always predictable. The good news is I hear there's been plenty of rain in Auckland, which I know you guys desperately need for those dams. So that is something, isn't it? There is always a silver lining. So good morning to everybody. It is so good to have you along. I've actually got a lot to talk about this morning. We've had so many things simmering along. Claire and I have had all these different plans and all these things, and we've still got loads to come. We've got Stitch in Summer that we're doing again across December, January, like we did last year. We've got heaps planned for that, and then of course there's that big event in March that you all know and love. But even now in the spring, we've still got loads and loads to talk about. So I think what I might do is I might get all the promotion-y stuff out of the way, and then we'll dive into Rebel. I've made some really good progress on my Rebel, and I deliberately stopped at a point because I wanted to show you a couple of little factors. And I know a few of you have been a wee bit nervous, and I can't believe I've left my printed pattern on my desk, but we're a little nervous because the printed pattern started right from the outset with some short rows. So you're a little bit daunted, but I think we can definitely start addressing that. So as I speak, my wee friend is in the office. She's been back. She's had a few days off, and she is madly loading up product and code because I'm, said to her, kind of need to madly load up the product and the code of stuff that we've actually had in for a week or two and we haven't managed to get up. One of those things is this. So I'm going to be sending out a newsletter. I didn't send out one Monday. I'm going to definitely send one out today, which will have all this stuff on there. But one of the things that we've finally gotten back is we have redesigned and got proper labels for our Skeinz Super Soft. Now, for those of you that don't know what this stuff is, this is our industrial grade fibre softener that we use at the mill, and we have bottled it off for you to use at home. We've had these little guys available for a number of years, but they sell out super quick, and it is a polysiloxylate softener. Say that 3 times fast. And what that is it's a softener it's a sort of an amino acid and based softener, and it goes across. It's actually a soak, not a rinse. You're not washing it, you're actually soaking it and leaving that on there, and it makes a huge difference with softening garments. And I know, like, particularly with things like the Southland, I mean, I don't use it because I tolerate things quite well, but it does actually add an extra layer of softness if you are particularly sensitive to more rustic or toothy yarns. And it's just a really great thing to have for any garments, blocking. If you're a dyer, you do your own independent dyeing, and you're just wanting to get a little bit extra plushness out of your skeins at the end of the process, you can use this stuff. So we've got the large bottles and the smaller bottles, and we're going to hopefully have those up by the end of today, which will be awesome to have those back. So that's very exciting. The other thing that we've also got back is, came in from the mill day before yesterday, and I've just got these loaded up this morning, some more of those remnant sale balls that we had for our birthday sale. Not all of them got done in time for the birthday sale, so we've had a few stragglers come in, which is quite nice. Not massive amounts of these, so we're only talking in some cases half a carton, maybe a carton at best, so not a huge amount. These are actually now all loaded and up on the website as I speak. Everything is $3.95 except for the merino, which I'll start with. This is actually our merino soft base and a beautiful, it's just called Blueprint. To me, it's very willow pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous. So it's a merino soft base, $4.95. So that's up right now. And then we've also got this guy here. This one is actually vintage rose hip. But it is a second, there's a slight dye fold in it. There's some graduations in the dyeing. So it kind of looks a little bit semi-solid. So it didn't pass the pass our QA assessment. So this has also gone up for $3.95. Considering merino soft is $5.95, this is a great buy. You're saving $2 a ball on that. So that is up. And then we've got a couple of DKs. These are both Perrindale DKs, and I can't quite remember how they ended up here. I've got a funny feeling they were sort of ends of, or there might have been something with the dyes. I'm not 100% certain, or it could have been anything, to be honest. But there is a bright red and a chocolate brown. These are now $3.95. Absolutely fabulous, great for charity knitting. And then we've got a couple of 4-plies, and these are the two-fold 4-plies, and there's this beautiful soft apricot. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. And there's still a little bit of the soft mint left, which is exactly the same as this, the same base as this. There's about, I think there's a couple of dozen balls left. And if you were wanting to do a little bit of colour work or do some colours, this with that soft mint would be so beautiful. Or if you've already got that soft mint in stash. So that's there. And then this is a beautiful warm brown. Isn't that lovely? Tell you what, even if you were wanting to knit a Rebel, if you haven't cast on yet and you're really watching your budget and you're wanting something for Rebel, this would be sweet in Rebel. It would be so lovely. That beautiful soft gelato peach shade, apricot shade rather. It's absolutely gorgeous. So these are both only $3.95. So those are all up on the sale page. That's where you'll find those, and I've even moved them up to the top of the page so they're nice and easy to find. And we still have a little bit of that 12-ply left, that the sea urchin and the sunburn. So do jump in and get those. Also, what has arrived back, the fabric softener, fabric shavers. I know a number of you absolutely were very keen to get your hands on these. We had a bit of a delay because we buy them, actually the wholesaler of these is based in Melbourne, and of course Melbourne has been under some pretty severe lockdowns. So these arrived last week, so we now have these back in stock. These fabric shavers, I've talked about the battery operated one that we get from Briscoe's, that I get from Briscoe's, which I just love, but it's battery operated, so you do need to change the batteries out. And once the blades wear on them, the blades aren't replaceable, so the item is actually disposable. These, on the other hand, we can buy blades, and we do buy blades in for these. So we can buy blades that you can replace, and this is a plug-in shaver. So it's the motor's got a little bit more grunt to it, and this is built to last. So this isn't a disposable product, it is built to last. And to be honest with you, it's $65. The Briscoe's ones are around $20, so you only need to go through 3 Briscoe's shavers and you would have already covered one of these. And I can tell you right now, I've already gone through more than 3 Briscoe's shavers, so I need to get myself one of these. Yes, so we got some of those back in last week, so really happy to have them. I've got a couple of other things that are a little bit more special that you may have seen me tease on Instagram. I'm going to talk about them after Rebel, because I want to make you wait and hang around, because, you know, I can. So yeah, how is everybody? Let's see who's here before I dive into my Rebel. Oh, it's fine in Fielding. Oh, thanks, Pauline. It's not fine here, and it's absolutely frigid. And Deb is saying it's now fine, but very, very cold in Christchurch. Yeah, it is. Honestly, it's. Oh, here we go. Look at this. This is from Janet. Even sleet showers in Darfield. I know. Seriously, Janet, it is so. So cold. Damien in our warehouse, this is really, I nearly took a picture of him before. He's running around. He's got his hoodie on with his hoodie up over his thing. And he's doing all the orders, but he's still wearing shorts. So Damo. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, it is all good. Oh, good morning, guys. It is so good to see everybody here. Fantastic. Oh, Diana is saying it's sunny in Southland. Well, of course, it's always sunny in Southland, Diane. No, it's lovely down there. I think you guys have already had this weather a few days ago. So, no, it's frigid, absolutely frigid. So good to see you guys. Right, Rebel. Now, the first thing I'm going to preface and say is that I am having Libby on Monday, and we're going to talk everything Rebel. And so if you are looking to start this and you've got a few questions or problems or things you want to talk about, do make sure you tune in live here 11 o'clock on Monday, and I will have Libby and she will be here to answer all of those questions, and we will cover off everything Rebel. So that is thing number one. I have made huge progress on this. I posted up a little progress picture after I'd finished the short rows, and you'll be very proud of me, people. I thought I'd better be good and not do modification. So I did actually do the German short row. And I know I chuck off at German short rows and I complain about them. They're not actually that hard. I'm lazy. I like what I know, and I'm a wrap and turn girl. But the German short rows, and for those that missed Thursdays, oh God, this is going to go clang because I've got bits on here. Essentially, a German short row is a short row where you have the yarn in the front and then you pull it quite tightly over the top of the needle, so then the rest of the stitch sort of pulls over, like it's two little legs from the stitch below, pulls over the top of the needle, and then you flick it back round and then you knit back the other way. And when you come back past that short row again, you just sort of go underneath both those legs and knit it, and then it just all magically disappears. But it is quite kind of daunting because you are really, pulling that stitch over to sort of, poke its legs in the air and say hello. Woohoo. Right. Okay. So I did do it. So I posted that image up for everybody to show that I had done that. And so what you got after you did that series of short rows, and it is daunting. Like, the last thing you expect is to do firstly a provisional cast on, which you quite often don't do at the beginning of the pattern, and then you've done your provisional cast on, and then you're straight into these short rows pretty much straight away. But what you then get is a crescent, this perfect crescent with a your provisional cast on at the top. However you chose to do it, whether you chose to do it over another cable of another needle, or in my case, I did the crochet cast on. And I went to go and unravel it, of course, on Thursday, and it wouldn't unravel. Typical live TV and all. But I did do this last night. So anyway, back the truck up. So you get your perfect crescent, and then you're working in this direction. And then once you've got your perfect crescent, and I'll just pull this out so you can see my, see, I knew that it doesn't like it, the thing. So there you go. There's my crescent at the bottom. I've got a cable there. And then you work straight for about, in my case, it was, 17 centimeters. And then you just do a tiny little bit of shaping and increasing at the end here, and then you break the yarn. And I've got these on waste yarn, and that's why you hear the banging clanging, because I've got a couple of stitch markers holding my waste yarn in place so it doesn't escape on me. Now, the other thing I just wanted to point out and show you, can you see how these are the different texture of fabric there? See how it's all like lovely and smooth and drapey at the bottom, and then it sort of kind of seems all a bit wobbly at the top there. That is because when I went to go and take the photograph to show you the crescent, like, hopefully it's going to allow me to show you this up close in the camera. I actually pressed it. I steamed it so it would sit flat to take the photograph. And this yarn, I've worked with this yarn quite a bit in the past. I mean, you can wet block it, absolutely, but I have worked with this yarn before. In fact, back when I started knitting again after a huge long hiatus. This was one of the first yarns that I picked up in fact, one of the first indie dyed yarns I bought a million years ago was a Koigu, KKPPM, or I think it was called. It was a sock yarn, hand dyed. And it's on this base. What I didn't know then is that Design Spun made this base for them. I bought that in one of my travels pre-Design Spun. And anyway, is it going to, oh yes, it is going to show you that. Can you sort of see? Let's jump right in there. Oh, there you go with the angle. See how it sort of looks bumpier at the top and very smooth at the bottom? And because I have worked with this yarn quite a bit before, and I did a lot of my baby clothes in this yarn because it was just indestructible, and I loved those Koigu colours. That's how I had it. And I knew it responds really well to pressing. Just with steam iron, it presses beautifully. So I won't wet block this. I will actually just steam block it. And it just shows you the drape of the fabric and how good the fabric looks. I rechecked my gauge. Everything was spot on. So I was really happy. So then from that point, I worked, yes, as I said, straight up, and then popped my stitches on the onto the live yarn. And the next instruction was to pick up the stitches on my provisional cast on and load those up. So, and that's what I wanted to show you here, because I've gone and left these on here. So all I've gone and done there is I've just gone, let me move that to the camera so you can see it. There you go. I've just gone and threaded my 3mm needle, which is what we needed to use this, and I just basically snaked it in underneath the right hand arm of each stitch. So just underneath the right hand arm of each stitch, and that loads it onto the needle. And then as I go, I just unzip my crocheted cast on, and that actually worked perfectly this time, and it just unzips. Now I will tell you, why on earth, because I did this at night, why on earth I chose a dark grey charcoal yarn to use as my provisional cast on waste yarn, I have no idea. It just happened to be in the jar that I have next to my knitting chair. This was the first piece of scrap yarn that was sitting at the top of the jar, so that's why I grabbed it. If you have not cast on yet, may I please suggest that you get a lighter coloured yarn. It is much kinder on the eyes, because of course I went through when I was doing my provisional cast on, and because it was dark grey and it was at night when I did it, so I couldn't quite see. When I went through the bottom of each of those crocheted loops, sometimes I actually split the yarn, like I didn't actually go cleanly through the loop. So as of course when I went to unravel, I had a stitch sitting in the middle of yarn. If that happens, all you need to do is just get some scissors and gently snip either side and keep unraveling. And snip your waste yarn, this yarn here, and just keep unraveling. But yes, it's what happens when your eyes aren't quite as flash as they used to be. So that's where I'm at the minute, and I haven't even read further along the instructions to see where I'm going to from here, but that's where I'm at. I'm hopefully going to get a chance to do some more of that tonight. I've voted, so I don't have to go and do that on Saturday, and in fact it's looking like I'm probably going to be working on Saturday. So yes, that's how's everyone else's going? Is anyone else? I know a few of you have already finished already. So yes, let us know how you're getting on. Excellent. Oh, they're still saying in Cheryl is still saying it's very windy in Melbourne, still in lockdown. I'm sorry to hear that, Cheryl. Hopefully things will start freeing up a wee bit soon. Yes, but this is, whoopsie, this is where I'm at with my rebel now. And I mean, this has not been a arduous knit, honestly. So don't, if you haven't started yet, you're not too late. Don't put yourself off by looking at that first set of instructions and think, that's a bit tough. Trust me, it's not. That crescent honestly didn't take long at all, and just when it comes to the short rows, I mean, Libby has written them in abbreviations that look a little bit different from something that you may have seen before. Do go back, and this is why I thought I need to do this, because I am notorious for seeing those instructions, knowing what they mean and what they're meant to achieve, and then promptly ignoring them and doing what I want to do. That's marine modus operandi, is what I do. But in this instance, I thought, no, I need to actually follow this to the letter so I can help you guys out. So I did. And I took in her instructions. This is one thing that Libby does exceptionally well. She writes excellent instructions. So if you just literally take the little abbreviation, have the abbreviation page, which is the last page of the pattern, next to you, and actually follow that abbreviation, just literally read line by line and follow it. She has described it perfectly of what it is that you need to do for that short row. And in fact, it's probably one of the best descriptions of a German short row I've seen in written form. So do that, and honestly, you will be fine. Just trust in the instructions. It may seem a little weird and unnatural and not what you're used to, or a different technique, but believe me, it will be okay. Here's the other thing that I did. I got all the way, did the crescent, took the picture to you, and if you actually look at the picture and zoom up, I think you can actually slightly see it. I did, because the way the short rows go, you do a short row and then you come back and then you go past the short row 4 stitches before you do the next one, right? For some reason, I got myself all twisted around in for the 3 stitches in between the 2 wrap and turns, and I must have had my yarn, I can't quite remember, must have been my yarn sitting either forward or back. Anyway, I would have been on a wrong side row. Instead of purling back those 3 stitches, I knitted them, and then I must have put down what I was doing, realized I'd done that, and kept going, and just didn't even think about it. So when I came to last night, when I was just putting this needle in the provisional cast on to unravel, I noticed at about here-ish, about in here somewhere, that I had second row in these 3 gartered stitches, just 3 of them sitting there, all on their lonesome, having a nice little party. And it's like, oh, how did I manage to do that? Now, it wasn't the end of the world, because this is the beautiful thing about a provisional cast on. I was able to, and in fact, it was just before those stitches that I unzipped. So when I unzipped, I could unzip till I got to those 3 stitches, then sort of hold them there, drop in turn each one down, and with a fine crochet hook, ungarter it, loop that around the back, and then repick the main chart. So in a way, having the provisional was really good, because if I didn't have that provisional cast on, it would have been hopefully a design feature that got hidden by this beautifully speckled yarn. Now, and so I need to wind off the rest. I've only actually literally wound off one skein so far. So this is where I'm at with the first one that I've got. So I do need to get on to that. This is as I said before, the merino high twist. So the koigu was in this. We also, if you love Sock Bandit is in this yarn. And actually seeing that Sock Bandit in Rebel was one of the reasons why I felt inspired to do this pattern for the summer, because it just looks so freaking good in the Sock Bandit sprinkles. I love it. It's got this wonderful drape. Other yarns that would be perfect though is sort of anything that sits in this fine 4-ply realm. I actually think our Legacy would be really gorgeous if you didn't want a machine washable shrink treated yarn, if you wanted something more natural, but it's still got that beautiful high level of twist and solid shades. Our Sock Mortician 4-ply would look amazing in this project, or you could even go something like Super Slinky Malinky and do the Blue Sky Fibers alpaca silk in either the pink or the guava. Would look incredible in this. So there are loads and loads and loads of different options, and the needles that you need for this 3mm, which is what's sitting on there at the moment, and 3.5, which for a lot of people isn't a standard needle in their collection. Do your swatching first though, just check your swatching. If you find that you may find for you it's a 3.75 and a 3.25 needle that you need. For me, I was being on gauge. Three. This is actually an interchangeable that I've got. I've got an old Addy set which I use. But if you are looking for interchangeables, by the time your newsletter gets out this afternoon, Claire and I hopefully have loaded out the other thing that arrived along with the Super Soft and the Fabric Care shavers is we've also had a huge order of Knit Pro in. Their container has obviously arrived into New Zealand, and we're now the best stocked we've been all year. We're really excited about that. And because so many I know are picking up needles to start summer projects and do different things, there's nothing worse than realizing you don't have exactly what it is that you need. So we're going to do a quick little flash sale on Knit Pro once I get loaded to this afternoon, just until Sunday, 15% off. So if you need to stock up on anything, you're looking at picking up something in the next few days, and you need, whether it be, I mean, I don't know about you, but you never have enough cables, do you? These cables are brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. I think we've got these, I think they're $5.95, $4 or $5.95 regular price. But why they're brilliant is they've got these little stoppers in them, which means that instead of you being me, I should have actually put it on a cable like that. I didn't think. I think it's because I'm not using a Knit Pro to knit it. But instead of being me, and see how I'm sitting there with my two dingle dangles, the two stitch markers there holding things on, you could actually use a Knit Pro cable with those two cable stoppers at the end, and that would hold your work there as safe as houses. So that's what those are for, if you ever wondered what those were. Obviously, we've got Symphony tips. We still have some Trends tips left as well. We've got loads of wave hooks. I know that, oh God, honestly, we have been struggling to keep up with crochet hooks. So many people have taken up crochet in lockdown. Oh, did you guys see my crochet blanket that I posted up on Monday? I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, so honestly, can't keep up with these. So we've got a good number of those. The other thing that arrived that we were out of, and in fact, in terms of interchangeable sets, we've had the Trends ones, which are the acrylic sets. But we now have, no, I tell a lie. Yes, that's what we've had. But we've also now got Symphony sets. And I think there's also, we've ordered in some Nova sets. It's either Nova, I think it's a Nova set as well. So we do have a number of these sets now up and loaded, and they will be in the sale. So if you're wanting to actually splurge and buy a little pre-Christmas to myself present, 15% off one of those sets is actually a pretty good savings. So I would definitely look at doing that. So those will be up and loaded for that, all ready to go. Yes, crochet blanket. Do go and have a look. It's up on this, just on the main Skeinz Facebook page or on the Instagram. I had been working on my scrappy blanket. I had a couple of projects that I was wanting to finish off before I dived into Rebel. One was that hitchhiker and the other was that scrappy crochet blanket. And I finally, as Edmund Hillary said, I knocked the bastard off. And it's been 3 years, actually. I don't work on it all the time. It's often the project I will dive into if I've lost my mojo a wee bit and I can't quite get my knitting mojo back. I'll pull that scrappy blanket out and just keep going. I just do it as one massive giant granny square, and it is my version of the memory blanket. Or in this case, it was DKs. All the DKs that I've worked with, I just keep in a jar or a bag nearby, all the scraps that I have for leftover samples and knitting projects that I do, and then I just go through and create these incredible blankets. I've given a number away over the years, but this one, I've got a few at home, but I really wanted a big one for our bed. I did one, it was when I broke my finger, so that was, because I couldn't knit, I could only crochet. That would be about 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, I broke my finger, and yeah, It was pretty ugly. Dislocated it. It was made for spectacular x-rays, let's put it that way. And I crocheted what was our Texas single roving, a king size blanket on a massive 9mm hook. I think it was, might even been a 10mm hook. And I crocheted this huge big blanket. I still have that one, but it's really heavy, and I wanted something not quite so heavy and a bit more colourful. So it is now done and completed. So it's kind of weird to have it all finished. So I felt good. So it meant that I could launch into Rebel and do that, and guilt-free, really. So nice to do it guilt-free. Let's check. Oh, awesome. Gail is saying her needle should arrive in the post today. And Rebel is her first circular garment. Well, the nice thing, actually, and I saw your comment in the Speakeasy, Gail. The nice thing about Rebel is that it's a really good one to get used to working with your circular needles, because you're actually working straight, backwards and forwards, knitting and purling, like you normally would. It gives you a chance to get used to your needles, and then you will start working into the round once we get to our sleeves. So it's nice because you'll get used to the handle and the feel of your needles, so when you get to that portion for your sleeves, you'll know where you're going, and you'll have a really good handle on it. So that's cool. Right, now Solange is saying she's a couple of inches below the main armhole join. This was the first provision. Oh, seriously, Solange? Wow, really, your first provisional cast on? That's amazing, because you knit so much. So you used to avoid patterns with it. And it is. Let us know, which one did you use? Because there are so many different methods. And yes, and there you go. Read the rest of the comment, Marie. Chose the crochet one. As I mentioned on Monday, do take the time to have a look at the YouTube videos. There are a whole heap. You will find the one that resonates and speaks to you. That's why Libby, I think, has just left the instruction as provisionally cast on, because I can think of about 4 or 5 ways that you can provisionally cast on. There are a number of ways you can do it. Find the one that makes you find really super easy. I personally like the crochet one, because for me it's dealing with and using skills. I'm not having to learn a different way to finagle my needle around cables and things. It's just like chain, pick up. I'm not really having to do anything new. Right. Last but not least, before I, speaking of things that I posted up the other day, the other thing that I posted up yesterday, I came in for a couple of hours yesterday, and to help the team out, because we also had arrived this week a pallet of yarn from North America. I can tell you that, but I can't tell you who from. It's very secret, squirrel. Something that we've been working on with them for some time, several months, and it's now finally landed. It's a bit of an experiment for both of us. They're really keen and excited to try this out, so are we. And what we are doing is we have received a container from them. This is a premium branded supplier in the USA. What can I tell you about them? They do their own branded yarns. They spin their own yarns. Well, they get the contract spun, and everything is done in the USA. So they're even American bred and grown fibre, spun in the USA, dyed in the USA. Not dead in the USA, but you know what I mean. Dyed in the USA. So it is completely American. Yes, I know I am importing American yarn to New Zealand, but there is a method to the madness. They are a benchmark brand in the US, and they have had a number of yarns that, they're a pretty large company, and you get to a point where you have colours that may be discontinued, or you change things out with the ranges and all these different things, and they hold those yarns aside. And anyway, we have got all of them. Literally a whole pallet load of these yarns have arrived, and there's about, I think there's 5 or 6 yarn varieties which have come. I've got a couple to show here now. A variety of different colours. We're just sorting through everything now because literally it's just arrived in cartons and in bags, sort of kind of loosely grouped together. We're just going through everything now, sorting it. We've got to give everything a new label and everything needs to get a new name. What I can tell you is that we did some research with this. If you were to buy this yarn, and actually some of these yarns are still available, if you were to buy these yarns, the colours, or in fact, let's again back the track up, all the yarns to my understanding are still available. Some of the colours aren't. But if you were to buy them and bring them into New Zealand yourself direct from them, it would be significantly more expensive because freight is a killer. We've managed to do a really great deal that we've gotten these landed and priced for less than what you can buy a single skein without the freight. So it is fantastic. I actually did a little exercise and it worked out that I put some skeins in a cart just to check what the freight was, and the freight was huge. Like for a single skein, I think the freight was something like $15 US, up to about 5 or 6 skeins you're looking at like $28 US just for freight. So obviously if you're here in New Zealand it's only $5.95 flat rate, and in Australia it's $14 or $19.95 depending on what service you use. Please use DHL if you're in a lockdown area. So yeah, really excited about this. So this was the one that I photographed. So all of these are going under a new label, and this new label is called Incognito, and it says here Incognito branded yarns in disguise. So that is what it's going to be. We're also in negotiation with a couple of other companies as well. So it may not be just, at the moment it's just this one, but we've got another one that might go under this label very, very soon. We've called this particular one, it is a beautiful, it is a woolen spun worsted. And those regular watchers know I'm rather fond of a woolen spun yarn. And in fact, this is a semi-woolen spun. It's absolutely beautiful. It's beautiful and lofty. In fact, if you've ever knitted with the stunning Maniatoto yarns, they are spun in a similar manner. Beautiful, lofty, squishy. This one is a 123 meters to 50 grams. With its loftness and squish, you could either knit this. I mean, they sell this as a worsted. In Kiwi switchy changery, you could knit this as a DK or you can knit this as a 10 ply. You would have no issues with either. And we've got quite a bit of this one rolling around different colors. There's this beautiful, this one we've called Silver Lake because it's just this beautiful silver. This one hasn't been given a name yet, but look at that beautiful verdant green. And then there's also a finer version, couple of finer versions of this, and I think there's also a thicker version, like a chunkier version of this as well, a bulky version of this. So we're just sort of still going through all the bags. Not everything will make it online. Some of it we only have small quantities of. Those will only be available in store, or depending on the quantities, they will be sold potentially in bundles, like a garment bundle. So if we've only got 6 or 7 of something, it may actually be sold as a bundle of all 6 or 7. So we don't break them up. Can't break the family up. But we're going to work on getting those up for you over the next few weeks. Another one I wanted to show you, Claire did these ones yesterday. This is the most beautiful, soft, tonal, extra fine merino. It's a DK. It's utterly, utterly lovely. It is buttery soft, and you can't read, the camera probably doesn't show it, but it is the most subtle tonal shades on that one, and there is a little bit of that. And then this is the range I really like. There's a whole carton of this, and I have to admit I'm keep going over and diving through it. This is a beautiful soft twofold twist. It's a sport weight yarn, and it is a wool alpaca. And I don't know whether it's the wool or the alpaca that's dark, but it's got that beautiful grain in it, which as you know, I'm a sucker for that sort of thing. And there's some really fun colours in this. And plus there's some single roving chunkies in there. We haven't had any of those for a while, so I'm really excited to get those through. So yeah, keep your eyes posted. We're hoping to start, as I said, getting those up probably from next week, and they'll start sort of sneaking in store as well. So super excited about them. It's just so much fun just to have something that's really different and fun and exciting, and also save you some money from bringing it in from offshore yourself if you can. If you're wondering why on earth we're doing this and not actually doing stuff out of our own mill, we still, I mean, the vast majority of what we do, we make ourselves. But we're doing it because we're so busy at the mill, both with our own Skeinz work as well as the contract and commission work that we do. We literally are at capacity. So, and you guys are just loving your yarn craft at the moment, and we need to keep you fed and nourished and feeling good about what is available. So that's why we're getting it in for you. So there's plenty there. Here we go. Julie is saying she's halfway through the armhole. Oh, yeah, it forgot. Oh, halfway. Oh, great. Okay, so this was good because I know that you had trouble. So Julie is saying she's halfway doing the back armhole after 4 goes at going German short row. Julie, you got there. I'm really pleased to hear that, and good on you, because I know it is a little bit fiddly if that's not what you're used to doing. So I am delighted that you were there. And once you get to the it is literally just 2 little make ones either side for the armhole shaping, easy peasy. So that's not going to be a problem for you when you get to that. Oh gosh, everyone is so here. And Margot's here. Hi, Margot. Margot's in California, and I know that it's still been quite hot over there, Margot. I wish we would have that heat back here again, because it's just absolutely frigid. Right, I'm going to stop talking. Absolutely stop talking, because I've got so much I need to do to get all of this loaded up for you. So have a great weekend. Yes, it looks like I think I'm being corralled into working on Saturday. So if you are around in the bay where you want to pop in, I think I'll definitely be here. I was just popping in to do a couple of other things and meet some friends and to have a look at a few bits and bobs, but it looks like I'll be here for the whole 3 hours. That's okay. We can do that. I'm looking forward to it, actually. So I will be here, and I will be here again. Pop it in your diaries. I will be here on Monday. I will be here on Monday with Libby, 11 o'clock, Facebook and YouTube Live. So if you've got any questions, or if we've gone through these next sections and you've got a question for Libby on the Rebel, she will be here. I know one of the things that we'll definitely cover off for those who haven't started it yet, that's sizing, how to pick the best size for you. So we'll definitely do that as well if you haven't bought your yarn. So until then, have a great weekend. Stay warm, stay dry, stay democratic. Vote on Saturday if you haven't already done that. Until then, I will see you on Monday. Take care.